Hi, this is Jesse with Closing the Loop. I'm doing a video today which is a little bit different than the norm. I'm at a customer's house and they are complaining that they get a lot of cold air, it seems like, in the basement, but they're not getting any cold air up in the rooms where they're actually living. So this is basically, if you include the basement, it's like a 3-level house. So now let's think about this. We know, for example, that cold air tends to fall. So if you're trying to air condition a house, then the best thing to do is to try and get that cold air to the top, right? There's actually a lot of people that are starting to put their air conditioning units in the attic and then have the air naturally come down. Okay, because cold air is heavier and hot air is lighter, so hot air tends to rise, whereas cold air tends to fall. So if you're trying to heat a home, you probably want a heater in the basement, which is pretty typical. That's typically where they have the furnaces. So then the hot air rises. But then the air conditioner, it's the opposite. It should be somewhere on the attic, and then it should work its way down naturally. I'm in the basement of this house and I'm noticing that it's very, very cold here, whereas in the rest of the house they're struggling to get it up to temperature. So that means that the air conditioner has to run, all the time, and they're not in the basement. They don't really do much in the basement, so it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what's the resolution to this? Well, in every house is going to be a little bit different, but in this particular house, there's a really, really easy solution to this problem. So this is the main duct. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to this main duct and I'm going to try and find where the holes are, and I'm going to try and basically cover them up entirely. Okay, so by going to the main source versus trying to close them off over there, right, it makes a whole lot more sense because you're going to have a lot less cold air escaping from the main duct. There's something called duct tape. Okay, this stuff here, most people don't use it for what it was actually intended, which is actually for ducts. So I'm just gonna basically go right to the source. I don't know if you can see, right there, but this is the main source, and this is what I'm going to work on covering up with the duct tape. So when I'm done with that, I will show you the results. All right, so this is the second half of the video. It's a couple of days later. I completed the project pretty quickly, but I just didn't get a chance to do the rest of the video. So basically, I took out all the vents that were connected to the main duct that were in the basement. I got rid of them entirely because there's no real need for it. So cold air is naturally going to come down, and so for there to be vents, especially in a system that is leaking everywhere. Every single vent you go to, even where there isn't a vent, there's a pretty bad leak in certain places. So that in and of itself is enough to keep the basement cool. The fact is, basements in general are cooler than the rest of the house, so there's no real need to waste any cold air into the basement. So I closed all of those vents off, and the pressure upstairs has gone up significantly. All the tenants in the house are noting that it's a lot colder. Supposedly the homeowner came yesterday, and the first thing she did was she completely turned off the AC because it was just way too cold. So and that's kind of a first. And so it's been 12 years since I've had this really nice system installed at the Trane central AC unit, and 12 years of basically paying for AC, having the AC on, having it constantly on, and still not being comfortable at night because it's just too hot up there. So not only the pressure has gone up upstairs, which makes sense because with all the vents being closed off, that means you have more air pressure that can now go upstairs. But because there's more air pressure, it's also gonna it's going to be colder. So, so problem solved basically, and it was a $5 fix. Why is this under Closing the Loop? Why is this under my channel? Because they're saving a ton of money, and the solution is such a cheap solution. And that's what Closing the Loop is all about, right? That's what the channel is about. It's about, you know, finding ways to be more resourceful, not wasting energy, not being wasteful, and you know, a penny saved is a penny earned kind of philosophy. That's what Closing the Loop is all about. So that's why I kind of felt like that information was pertinent. It did fall under that category. It did fall under the channel name. So anyway, that's it. Problem solved, you know, and they're going to save hundreds of dollars. And even if they didn't save a penny, even if they spent exactly the same amount of money, the fact that they are now going to be comfortable, that they can turn on the AC and that it's actually going to work for them, that that they don't have to consider getting a window in, I mean a air conditioner in the window upstairs because it's so hot. That's going to save them money. That's going to save them time. That's going to save them hassle, right? So even if they didn't save a penny, the fact that they can turn on their AC and it's actually going to work for them, that is mission accomplished. So please like, subscribe, and leave your comments if you have any questions or if you just want to make a comment. I had a pretty funny comment where a guy says, you know, you have really solid information, but you do this thing where you kind of suck your teeth or you smack your lips or something, and it's so annoying. I ended up deleting that message, but I do actually appreciate comments like that because it kind of keeps me mindful of the little habits and the little quirks that I have that might be annoying. Some people might like it. It's weird. You can't please everybody all the time. So anyway, this is Jesse with Closing the Loop, signing out. Take care.